Premier Digital Marketing Consultant, Internet Business Coach. And this morning, on our usual inspired morning, okay, I think it's already afternoon here in London. I just want to share something very, very important. A couple of steps about 7 reasons why Africans, home and abroad are poor. Okay? And I just hope it's going to be inspiring you. I hope you will be challenged. I hope you'll be inspired to take action. This is coming from a very, very heavy heart. I had a chat with a young man this morning whom I did a picture about my haircut. Okay, it's like this is how they cut hair here in the UK, and I was sharing how it cost me 12 pounds to have the haircut, and how I just can't understand how expensive that is and all of that. And he was sharing with me that if the person cuts, of course that's 7,000 naira, and he calculated very, I'm sure he's an Igbo man, that if the guy does 50 haircuts in a day, because it's a shop, and was calculating how much thousands the guy would make. And the next thing this young man said? He said, "This is why I cannot wait to leave this country." I was shocked. Very, very shocked. That was the next thing he said. He said, "That's why I cannot wait to leave this country." And I looked at him, I said, "Are you kidding me? I am not here in the UK because I ran away. I'm here on vacation turn business trip where I'm invited to train people. If I had not succeeded in Nigeria, I won't be able to afford to be traveling all over the world." And he didn't get it. He just, was already assuming that life is better in the UK, life is better in the US. And this is the same narrative a lot of people have. I tell people, an alligator, a lizard in Nigeria cannot turn to alligator in London or in the UK. A lizard in Nigeria cannot turn to alligator in London or UK. And so I'm going to share with you 7 reasons why Africans are poor, whether they are home, whether they are abroad. Number 1, we are mentally programmed to want to receive and receive and receive without giving. I don't know where we came up with this. I don't know why we live this way. But Africans just want to receive. Just give me, give me, give me, give me. They don't care if you die. That's your business. Just keep giving me. This part of the world where people will just chat me up. I have, a lot of chatting. I was in Nigeria. I had this experience in Dubai and it was shocking. Several people just chatting me up. I've been in Dubai. I'm stuck. I thought things were going to be better. And now I don't have papers. I cannot work. I cannot do anything. Can you give me money to go back to Nigeria? And I'm just like, I don't know you. Hey, we just want to receive and receive and receive. If you ask an average young man, why do you want to go to UK? Why do you want to go to US? Now, here am I on my normal vacation turn training. Okay, so I'm here in the UK training people, giving. I'm going to the US again, training people. I'll be in Abu Dhabi for my vacation with my family. Some training has also been set because people are demanding for it. But you ask an average person, why do you want to go abroad? They tell you, I want to leave so that I can get a better job and have a better life and make money and become rich. That is the conversation. There is none of this thing that says, I have a value, I have a solution to a problem, and I'm going to solve it. I have something I can do. I have something I can add to the UK community. I have something I can add to the US community. I'm going to go there. I'm going to, provide that solution, and I'm going to charge for it. Nobody is saying that. And this is one of the reasons why you now see people say, they are wicked and Africans, they don't want us to come to this country. It's because you're not adding value. I've never been rejected for any visa. And the reason is simple. Even when you see me, you know that, your country is not that special. I can't even wait to go back home. Okay, I can't. I mean, I'm just here to do one or two things. I'm good to go. I mean, the last time I was applying for my UK visa, and they were dragging. I called because I even know him. I told her, I said, I want my international passport back because I have another international engagement. And if you guys are not going to give me my visa on time, I need it back. And people say, don't say that. I said, yeah, I need it back. Even if the visa were to have said no, I mean, it's no big deal. I want to come to your country for vacation, spend my money, train a couple of people. You don't want that? Keep your visa. You know, anybody who understands the concept of adding value will never be desperate about anything. Because you know you also have something to offer. So one of the major programmed poverty of the mind that Africans have had is receiving. You see somebody and they say, oh, the person is giving scholarship. Instead of saying, oh, I don't have money, but maybe I can donate 2,000 naira. The first thing an average African will do is to say, yes, by the way, my own cousin too is broke. Oh, by the way, my own. Instead of saying, I want to be a giver. You must build a culture of wanting to give. There is something on your inside, ladies and gentlemen. There's something on your inside. There's something you can offer your world. You are loaded. You have a lot of value you can add. You have so much stuff you can give the world. The world is waiting for you. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is waiting for you. There's so much on your inside you can offer. And stop this beggarly mentality, this give me. I just think it's sickening. You know, I saw something recently. There's this guy, Sadiq Daba, amazing journalist who had added value to humanity. And I just saw that he apparently has been sick again, because there was a time I heard he was sick. And he's been sick, and I saw that this woman activist visited him. What was her name again? Some of you can remind me. Joe Dumaki. And, you know, needed money. And immediately I said, you know, I've contacted, you know, our foundation. They should send something. And then I'm saying, no, that won't be enough. How can I maybe do a post, a broadcast, and I'm still going to share that and encourage more people to donate. This amazing guy, I grew up watching him. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we need to start doing as Africans. I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm back. So let's get to share it and get back to our normal. Where did I stop? Can somebody remind me where I was? Okay, I think I was talking about Sadiq Daba, and I want to encourage you to, there are posters everywhere with his account detail. Please send something to that man. Amazing man. Was a veteran journalist. You know, we saw him on TV, added value to everybody. He's going through a tough time as a retiree, and I will still get to why we shouldn't have the aged in our community suffer like that. If somebody has worked hard when he was young, he has invested in adding value, he shouldn't live his latter years suffering from cancer and bone marrow cancer, and he cannot get good treatment. It is sickening. It is wrong. It is wrong. You work hard in your youthful days so that you can rest at a later date. But the major thing we have as Africans that is an issue and we need to work on is that we need to work on our mindset to be givers. Nobody wants you in their country. Nobody values you in their country if you are not a value adder. If there's nothing you can add to that country, nobody wants you. And that's the truth. The first time I got to the US, true story. This is a true story of my own story. And, you know, it was here at Atlanta. I can't remember which of these point of entry. Very notorious from what I even heard later. You know, and they told me where did I come for. I said I came for a World Bank event. And they said, where's my letter of invitation? I said, you know, I was trying to check it. I thought I had printed it, but I didn't. You know, so the guy noticed that I didn't have that. So he put my stuff, my international passport, inside a yellow bag and then called one of his colleagues, you know, treating me nicely. I didn't know that I was already entering Wala. You know, so they took me to a place. I had to call my travel consultant, like, this has happened. they put in a yellow bag, and all of that. He said, he said, from yellow, the next is red. He said, if you enter red, from red, the next place you find yourself is Nigeria. I said, are you kidding me? For what? What was my offense? I said, what was my offense? My topic today is why Africans are poor and how to, overcome the poverty programming. We've been programmed to be poor from birth. Our parents too were programmed to be poor. Actually, it's a programming. Many of us don't know, and I'm going to be opening your eyes to them today. So, the immigration, my travel consultant told me, he said that they're probably going to send me back. Why didn't I have the invitation letter of where I was going to and all of that. So immediately I said, no problem, I'll sort myself out. Something in me rose up because, hey, I was coming for an event and I don't have a plan to stay in America. Like many Nigerians do, you say you want to go for something and then you stay there forever. So I stood up and he didn't even call me. I didn't even know that wasn't the protocol. It was later I learned that if they don't call you, you don't even go. So I just walked up to him and I said, excuse me, what's going on here? I have traveled all over the world, in different parts of the world, but I've never experienced where people are stopping me and subjecting me to all manner. He said, don't I have the right to interrogate you? I said, you have the right, but I've not experienced this kind of, ridiculing, I'm just here for a conference. And, he said, well, but because you Nigerians, you say half truth and you say half lie. Something touch in my brain. I said, I'm not an ordinary Nigerian. I said, Google my name. And he said, no, we're not talking of social media, your normal, because normally when you Google people who are active on social media, their social media handle will come up. I said, I'm not talking about social media handle too. I'm talking about media interview. I'm talking about books I've written. Is that books? I said, yeah, I've written books. At that point, I noticed I caught him. I've said something that interests him. So I pocketed my hand. I said, go on Amazon. You're Amazon. You see my books there. And he did. He went to Amazon and then searched my name and said, you wrote The Mobile Millionaire. I said, yes, that's my book. He said, you wrote Survival Instinct. I said, yes, that's my book. That's your brother. He said, you wrote this. I said, yeah, that's my book. He said, obviously, you are one of the most important people from Nigeria. He said, welcome to America. I thought some of you clap for me. Yeah. But the truth was that suddenly, seeing my profile, seeing that I've written books, seeing media interview, they knew that I'm not a parasite. I'm not going to be a parasite to the system. Rather, I'm a value adder. Every country, every human being is looking for a value adder. So number one program that has been programmed to Africans is receiving and not giving. You just wanting to get. Let everybody give to you. You just be the one receiving. It's the same thing we're complaining now. Even about religious leaders and organizations and institutions. That is not just that churches should collect money. Give back. Now, I'm not the extremist. I also have the other version I'm hearing where people are saying pastors shouldn't live a good life. Okay? What the scripture says is that they are entitled to double honor. If somebody is praying to you and ministering to you in spiritual things, you're supposed to minister to him in carnal things. It's scriptural. We must be givers. We must support our pastors. We must support the mission work. But when a pastor now become a receiver all the time, give me, all is after is receiving and receiving, God's lay in my heart. Somebody here, you have 10,000 pounds, bring it now. Now, these are rubbish. Now, again, like I said, I like to balance things because I've seen the extreme. I don't like anything extreme. You must be careful, and many of us need to be careful. These are tough times, and we have to be careful. Those who are too extreme and telling you churches are the problem, okay, and the only problem you are facing, they are extreme. They are not saying the truth. And of course, those other religious leaders and pastors who are also after just taking people's money, living extravagant life, and not thinking of how to add value to people, they're also the extreme, and it's senseless. So what do you want to do? You want to be in the middle, right? Like me. I'm in the middle of the conversation, which is we should be givers. We should impact lives. We should reach out to ministry. We should expand the work of God. But we should do it with credible people. We should do it with people who have antecedent. We should do it with people we know have genuine calling. Is this making sense at all? But the first thing we must be delivered from is the deliverance from receiving. We must be givers. Start giving. That's why our churches are filled up. What are people looking for in those churches? A miracle is coming your way. This week now, money that you didn't work for will come. That's not true. You have to work for the money. Any wealth gotten in vanity will diminish and will perish. It doesn't even add value to you. Haven't you seen people who won lottery? All this lottery and lotto. And how many of them, their lives end up getting worse than it was just because they did not use it well. They got the money in vanity. They didn't work for it. And they went into drugs and they became drug addicts. So God didn't want you to get money you didn't work for. God wants you to work, but his blessing will come on it, and that the little effort you put in, you get better result, even more result than you have put in. That's what the anointing is for. Okay? So, number one, the programming you must be delivered from is the programming of receiving and not giving. It is against the law of God. It's against the law of nature for you to be a receiver. You must be a giver. You must add value. You must impact your world. Your dreams and your vision must be bigger than you. One of my vision is I have project 1 million, scholarship, which is a vision to send 1 million people to school. Okay, for the past 9 years we've done over 3,000. Okay, that is what we want to talk about. I have project 1 million entrepreneurs, raising a lot of people to be able to start their business and employ people, and we can drive away, unemployment that we're going through right now. That is how to think. What can you give, ladies and gentlemen? And some of you can please share with me some of the things you think you can give to your world, to your community, whether you are in UK, you are in London, you are in US, or you are in Nigeria. What can you give? Remember, a lizard in Nigeria cannot be alligator in UK, cannot be alligator in US. I have gotten honored everywhere I go. I go to UK, I'm honored. Any country of the world, because I've walked my way in the tough times, even in Nigeria, and I've grown to build 18 businesses, have over 50 staff, and today I get to be invited all over the world, and I'm duplicating the same. So be a giver. Have something you are offering your world. That is how it is done. If you're doing the opposite and you're expecting to be rich, then you are already poor. Even when you have money, you're still poor. Because we call it mental poverty. Wealth is not just physical, it's mental. If you are used to just accumulating, collecting, getting the money, you will remain poor forever. It's about getting money to give, to distribute. Number two, why Africans are poor, home and abroad. The first one we say is because they want to receive. Receiving, not giving. Not adding any value to anybody. Always give me. And I don't know why. Everybody also have their own problems. So stop looking for who will give you anything. Start thinking of what you give people. Number two, reason why Africans are poor. They are too skeptical. Skeptical about everything. Haven't you seen situations where, probably some people in Africa is late in the night, there's no light, and then maybe it was just a tree and a cloth hung on the tree. Somebody's already imagining maybe a demon or a wizard appearing. Have you experienced such like that? We are so skeptical. Have you seen that Africans will want to go into business deal with people and they're already thinking that the person wants to cheat them? Ever skeptical about everything. And that's why we've come up with all manner of conspiracy theories. All manner. I remember one day I was sharing to somebody about how I admire Aliko Dangote and how much the man has grown in business, how many people his company is able to employ. And somebody posted on my page, he said, tell him to stop exploiting people. And I just said, exploit? What will he exploit in you? How much do you have that he's exploiting? You know, because sometimes we get it wrong. We're just skeptical about everything. It's only a poor man that has nothing that is checking his pocket all the time so that they don't steal the money. And he has nothing in his pocket. Okay? He's a poor man that keeps checking his account balance all the time. There's nothing there. There's no point. There's nothing to check. Stop being skeptical. It's one of the demons affecting Africans. You see people who need to make good investment. They will say, I've not seen the person. How do I trust the person? I'm not sure. Do you know how many people will have started good internet businesses years ago? But they were just afraid to even use their credit card on the internet. That because people, they steal people's money. Yeah, there will always be a fake. When there's an original, there's also always a fake. But that there's a fake of something does not mean the original is not there. I have never lost my money online. Because I just learned to trust. The poor is always skeptical. The rich is more trusting. It's more trusting. Mark Zuckerberg was in Nigeria and, you know, he went out to jog. Richard Branson went to Oshodi, went to jog. Mark Zuckerberg, 6th richest man in the world. He, you know, went out on jogging, did exercise, met. In fact, the people he came for when he came to Nigeria wasn't even the government. It was when he left and government knew that he came that they had to invite him back to meet Buhari. Can you imagine that? He didn't even come for, you know, but the man went. But you see an average poor man say, hey, you know, I have money here. What if they will steal it from me? So stop being skeptical. Stop thinking people will cheat you, because as a man thinketh, so is he. There's a programming. It's a slavery mentality, because you know our great-great-grandparents were slaves. Okay? And there was a programming that our great-grandparents had. And many of them pass it on to us. Let me give you an example. Why is it that many Africans are not scientists and not people who invent things? Okay? Because our great-great-parents were slaves. They were no risk takers. They couldn't take risks. They couldn't, you know, do experiments. Because mentally, they've been wired that way. They say, it's chemical. Don't touch the chemical. It can burn your body. It's only the negative part of everything we want to hear. We're not even interested in the fact that the child just needs to protect himself, but he needs to investigate what's in that chemical, so that probably he can invent another version. When social media also came, that was how everybody knows social media. Instead of saying, no, this is a new way of life. Can we research it? And know whether we can launch out a lot of entrepreneurs who will leverage on social media to grow businesses. It's now that everybody is trying to play catch up, when many people's business has crumbled. Now they now realize actually this is the new normal. You are not online, okay? Your business is not online, is literally dead. So we need to be more trusting. Stop being skeptical. Stop being afraid of everything. I came here to UK, and I had about, was it 4 engagements? All the 4 engagements, it was when I got to those places, I met those people. Because it was when I met them. I have never met them before. And I wasn't expecting them to do me harm. I mean, for what? For what? You know, in fact, somebody sent me a message who was complaining about one of my hosts and was saying rubbish. And I just told her, I said, shut up. And she even had the guts to come back to me again and say, you went on social media and you were still saying me, I was giving you advice. I said, keep your advice. How well has your advice taken you? Because I meet people internationally and they say, oh, you're adding value. Can you come and be a blessing to us in this part of the world? And then somebody will just say, you know, be skeptical about that person. That's already a giver. That's somebody who is already having the right attitude we're talking about right now, isn't it? Okay? Barbara Wissem say, I'm new here. Would like to introduce more of the trade to me. Okay, well, today I'm not yet talking about business. I'm not even focusing about, you know, 7 reasons why Africans are poor and how to delete the poverty programming that has been put in our mind, because it's important to work on it. We have been programmed to be poor people. Africans have been programmed because we are coming from a lineage of slaves who became free. The free generation is just about 3 generations now that were, that we can say totally free generation, in African descent. It's just about 3 generations. We're talking about, 3 or 4 generations. So many of the baggages our parents dealt with, they still pass it on to us. And then number one that I've talked about is the culture of receiving and not giving. You will see somebody all the way in the US or in the UK just thinking of, they will say there's one place in Africa, some kids are dying there, send money, and you see them sending money. They don't even know who the people are because they've been programmed to be givers. Are you seeing now? So the first programming that you need to work on, because once you change that mindset, you become wealthy. Program your mind to be giving, to impact life. You want to come abroad, and I want to say this to as many Africans who are watching me, and you want to come to UK or to US, and you want to even relocate. Think of what to offer people here. Be a value adder. Don't just be a parasite and just think that you come to the UK or to the US and your life will turn around. It doesn't work that way. I'm dealing with people going through that now. That's the complaint I keep getting. I still have one yesterday. Somebody chatting me up. I'm stranded here with 3 kids. I don't know. Help me. I'm stranded in the US. I can't go back. I can't stay. I can't do this. I need your help. And I just why did you come here to the US without having a value? Without having something to offer? I met another young guy. He wanted to relocate his himself and his brand new wife, just got married, to the US. And I asked him, what will you do? He said, I don't know. But they said US, that's where things are working. Hey, stop it. If anything, think of what you can give that community. Number 2, we've discussed, is that stop being skeptical. We are too skeptical. And that's why we've not evolved. That's how some people want to even do you good. You're already being skeptical about the good they want to do you. That why will anybody just like me? Why will somebody just want to help me? Why? I've met people like that too. I don't know whether you have, but I have. Where they will just be saying that, I don't trust his intentions. I think he's looking for something else. I don't know if you have had that experience. And that's a poor man's situation for you. A poor man, he's always thinking that people are after him. He's always thinking people don't wish him well. He's always thinking, and that's why the poor man is one looking for witches where they don't exist. He believes the witches in his village are chasing him. He believes witches from the father house are chasing him. Witches from the mother house are chasing him. Witches from all over the world. So you think that everybody is so idle that it is you they are now chasing, right? Even the devil is busy. Even the devil is busy. At least he said that to God during case of Job. He says, I'm going to and fro. And the Bible says the devil is going to and fro, looking for it. So it means it's not even as if the devil himself stays everywhere. He's not omnipresent, omnipotent. He's not God. So he can't... He does not have that power. He's got your maker that can be present everywhere at all times, ladies and gentlemen. So stop, empowering one witch somewhere that does not even exist. If you check it, you are the witch over your life. You are the witch and the devil disturb. You are the demon affecting your life. True story. Because I had learned that in my life today. You are the one behind it. Because you program, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you believe witches are chasing you, you will be seeing signs that they are chasing you. If you believe what is in your mind, that's why you must guide your heart with all jealousy. Guide it. Okay? Guide it. Be careful. The things you let in. There are some prophets that, when they even start online, just delete it. Somebody, some witches, somebody is attacking you. Rubbish. Who is attacking you? You are the devil affecting your life. Let me tell you this. One of the realizations I came to years ago was this, and this will help many of us. that I am absolutely, Stephen Akintayo, absolutely responsible for the outcome of my life. I am absolutely responsible for the outcome of my life. Not the devil is my enemy, not nobody. I am absolutely. If I make it, it's my fault. If I don't make it, it's my fault. I am absolutely responsible for the outcome of my life. So take responsibility. Take responsibility. Which takes me to number 3. Reasons why Africans are poor home and abroad. They are not doers. They are hearers and talkers. We have, in fact, some people, because of the social media age, have gotten PhD in talking, PhD in analysis, PhD in complaint management. It's true. PhD in complaint management. PhD in newspaper report complaint management. We have so much Africans doing that now. And I think something is wrong somewhere. We need to evolve a new breed of Africans who are creators, who are solution providers. You know, I have met several people analyze the problem of Nigeria in several sectors. You know, many say they are poor leaders, many say they are fake leaders, many say they are failed leaders, many say is our foolish leaders. And you know, many times when they say it, I just shake my head. Because, and some of them that I can tell the truth, I tell them. I say, sir, do you know, if you are the president of Nigeria now, you will do worse than Buhari is doing. No. And I said, look, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. The fundamental problem of African leaders is capacity development. We are champions in fighting wars. See Mugabe. Mugabe led the revolution that stopped the minority rule, the white minority rule in his country. So he had the capacity to fight trouble. He had the capacity to send away the white people that he claimed were the ones behind that country's problem. But see what has happened today. To buy bread, you use trillions in Zimbabwe. Jesus, true story, use billions of their money to buy bread. You see, a man who can fight, who can complain, who can analyze, but does not have capacity, but is not a doer. Look at South Africa, the same thing. And I think this was probably one of the things that Nelson Mandela realized that made him to only serve for one term. God bless his soul. That look, being able to fight for my people's deliverance is not equal to having the capacity to run the country well, having the technocratic skills or the ability to assemble technocrats and get the job done. One of the things I said to myself, and this is why I invested into entrepreneurship, I said to myself, I am not fit to become a political leader if I cannot succeed in my private enterprise. Say it to yourself too. If you will be sincere, that's where the problem is. That's where the problem. If Dangote were to run Nigeria, Nigeria would be a better place. Mark my word. Mark my word. And sometimes these are some of the same people that many of us are attacking for no reason. A man has worked his way. You think if it's easy to become wealthy, you to go and become rich now? Oh yeah, go. I mean, if it's that easy, because sometimes we come up with all these conspiracy theories about the rich, that it just doesn't make sense to me. If it's that easy to become rich, go and do it. Meanwhile, these are the set of people we actually are supposed to celebrate. Because if we get more, I'm not talking about so-called rich people that were politically rich. I'm not talking about that. They stole money and then now started buying investments and all. That's not what I'm saying. No. I'm talking about people who have always been in the private sector all their lives, invested in growing their business from zero to hero. That's the kind of people I'm talking about when I say rich people. Okay? So, because, thank you, Mrs. Oriyomi, because you can only give what you have. I believe Nelson Mandela realized this, and that was why early he pulled out after one term and said, you know what, keep the country, let other run. Because you can see what Jacob Zuma is doing. You can see South Africa, there's joblessness. People don't have jobs. People are going through a tough time. And we have now started xenophobia and all manner of rubbish. Okay? And sometimes we have this mindset, the white people hate us. The white people, let me say this, and you can quote me any day, anytime. If I ever go into politics and I become a president or a governor and I need to do something and I have not found a Nigerian with the capacity to execute it, not I mean capacity to do it, I mean, let me give you an example. The fact that somebody is an engineer in a train station here in London does not mean he knows how to start a whole train station business. Can I say that again? You know, the fact that somebody is a top engineer here in London, has been in London maybe for 20 years, does not mean he has capacity to start a train station business and run it well. Dubai transformed because, and you need to hear this, because they looked for people who had the skill in the areas they needed to develop. They got those people and talked about transfer of skill. Let me give you an example. Do you know that Dubai Aviation, United Arab Emirates Aviation, is run by a British? How many of you know that? It's not run by an Arabic person or an Emirati, like they call it. It's run by a British, a British guy, white British guy. Several of their sector is run by people who are outsiders. The architectural master plans and buildings and stuff are usually done by British, sometimes French architects. So the only thing they insist on is to domesticate that whole process, put in our own Arabic feel. So if I become a president today, if I get a white man who has the capacity to run our textile industry well, to run our manufacturing industry well, I'll get the person. We need to... Hey guys, are you still here or you've left me? Oh, thank you so much. People say I'm on point. But we need to say this. And I think today I just wanted to really, really pour out my heart. And I want you to share this video. Let it go viral. Let people hear this. We need to be sincere with ourselves. I grew up in a little community called Jebba in Kwara State. If you know the place, can you type, I know the place. And in Jebba, they had this paper mill. Okay, not too far from Jebba, we also have Bashita. Bashita had a sugar mill. The paper mill in Jebba and the sugar mill in Bashita were run by Indians in the 60s and 70s. And then Nigerians came with this concept of, we want our own, we want Nigerians to run the sugar mill, the paper mill. Why must it be that it's foreigners that are ruling us? You see, the slavery mentality we have. Instead of saying that who is the expert. Do you know that that same slavery mentality is the same thing affecting us now? Where we have changed it from white to no. Why must an Hausa man rule us? Why must it be an Hausa man? Must it be the North that will always rule us? Can't we, the Southerners, rule? You see, we've started it again. Huh? We've started it again. And that's how we want to divide Nigeria. And we're telling ourselves lies, pure lies, pure lies. Is your governor not from your locality? Is your local government chairman not from where you are? Why has he not turned that place around? Why must he feed you lies and you accept it? Why must he feed you lies and you accept it? That is a mediocre. That his brain is not working. Listen, many of the so-called leaders you call political leaders, mentally they are zero. They cannot create anything. They are empty upstairs. Their brain cannot turn. If you cannot turn a 100 pounds, okay, to 10,000 pounds, to 100,000 pounds, you're not fit to lead politically. Because you won't even have an idea of how you can really turn the little resources your country has that you're generating from oil and diversify it and, and expand your businesses and turn things around. You won't be able to know how to do it. So we throw sentiments around. So that was how the Indians were chased out of the power Jebba sugar mill, paper mill, and then Bashita sugar mill. Guess what? All those places are gone now. They are all gone now. Those companies have folded up. The people who were employees there no longer have jobs. Those communities are now poor communities, broke communities, because we insisted, we wanted, let's have our own people. You will never see me do that. You will never see me do that. In our company, I don't care where you come from. If you have something tangible to offer, you are important. You are important. One of my former GM one day said to me, sir, it took me years to know what you like. He said, result. He said, if anybody wants to be your best friend in this company, you should just get result. He said, if the person has result, you will like him die. And that's me. I don't care who you are. You can be white, you can be yellow, purple, green. If you have something tangible to offer, let's be friends. That is one of the major challenges we're facing, which is we are not doers. So how many of you will type here with me? From today, I make a vow to be a doer. Can you all type it now? I make a vow that I'll be a doer. I will find something. He said, whatsoever you find doer, it shall prosper. When God's blessing comes on what you are doing, it will prosper, ladies and gentlemen. When I started speaking as a speaker, running conferences, speaking at events, I started with a team of my first training, less than 10 people, and people wouldn't come. It was free. I'll be begging people to come, but do it excellently. I kept at it. I kept running my trainings. I kept running my empowerment trainings. Today now is a global enterprise, training people all over the world. You see? So find something to do and do it well. Be a doer. That's number 3. Be a doer. Be a doer. Be an executor. In fact, we have a camp meeting coming up very soon, and we'll call it the Intelligent Executor. That's the title of the camp meeting. The Intelligent Executor. That's the title. And we're going to be focusing on how people can become better doers. Execute things. Because you want a job. Many of us now, look at it. I was in Aberdeen the other day. And again here, even in London, what I realized is that a lot of people is either they finish masters, the least person has finished masters. I've met people who are done with their PhD or are currently running their PhD, yet financially, they are not there. And the reason many of them still give me is that is either there is no job in their locality like Aberdeen where the oil has dried up, or they are in a situation where for one reason or the other, maybe their papers, they cannot get a good job. Or in some other cases, one, excuse or the other. And I keep telling these people, if you cannot get a good job with all the education you have, can't you start something? That was what I did. In fact, the young man I told you his story now, that was what I told him. I said, young man is not from abroad, though. It's from above. God is the one that bless a man. And when he bless you, he has no sorrow. So I said to him, don't be deceived to want to rush out of Nigeria. I said, I'm in UK here. I can't live in UK. I only come for vacation because the people here are stingy. Is that not true? I mean, if you're in UK here, you better say the truth. The people here are stingy. It's hard to get money here. It's a lot easier to become rich in Africa than in the US or in the UK. And I'm saying the truth. I can live in any of this part of the world. I have companies here. I have 2 companies registered now in the UK. But I can't live here. There's so much opportunity in Africa than even here. And you just need to open your eyes and see them. And even those of you who are here in the UK or in the US, be open to the fact that if I do not get a job, I will create one. Simple. Simple. Even if you have a good job, begin to open your medulla oblongata to say, I want to have multiple streams of income. Because 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I'm going to be asking myself, what have I achieved? When I meet people here and I say, how long have you been here? The least you hear is 10 years. An average person has been in the US or in the UK 10 years, 20 years. And I said, do you have a house here? Say, things are tough. And it doesn't make sense to me. I can't live in UK or US. In 1 year, I have my house. In 1 year. Here in the I'm not talking about house in the village. Here, I will have my house. Here. Here. What are you talking about? There's more on your inside. Just be a doer. Stop hearing you alone. Be a doer. Many things you have heard, how many of them have you done? We keep hearing, we keep going to churches, we keep going to institutions, seminar, conferences, they talk, you won't do. And again, it's a mindset. It's the slavery mindset I told you about that is causing this. A slave cannot own anything. That's why we are not building capacity to be owners. A slave does not own anything. Everything is owned by his master. Everything is owned by its master. How can we have a situation where we say we're colonized, we say we're slaves under British rule or Western rules, and then we got independent, and because mentally we're still slaves, we now put ourselves inside slavery by ourselves? Many people come to this part of the world, the first thing they go into is indebtedness. You buy a car that you don't need. You get a mortgage that you don't need. Instead of you to get probably a 1-bedroom apartment to start with. When I was starting life, I said this story before, bless you. I said this story before. When I was starting life after finishing school, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to live in Songwater. Songwater is the outskirt. I said, but my office is going to be in Ikeja. And I told her, I said, the reason is because I don't want to pray and fast to pay my house rent. I said, houses are cheaper here in Songo. Songo is outskirts of Lagos State in Nigeria, for those of you watching from different part of the world. And so houses there was about $250,000, which is like $750 per annum. But in the city, in Ikeja, you will probably need up to $5,000 per annum to pay. And I said to myself, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather stay in the outskirts, okay, take commercial vehicle, and be coming to the city for work. Guess what happened? One day I got a mail from one stupid man or woman, I don't know who the person is. And the person said to me, he said, you, Stephen Akita, I said you are CEO, you are this, you are still taking commercial vehicle. That's what the person said. And I just said, what mental state will make somebody think that my financial worth is in my Rolls Royce or in having a car? A car is not even an asset, it's a liability. Even the house you live in is not an asset, it's a liability. And just I don't know how people think. Guess what happened? This is a true story. By the time we're leaving Songwater, we had become estate owners. Because I stayed there, kept my bills low, so that I would be able to afford later what other people cannot afford, what my mates can't afford. My mates who decide to say, want to be in the city, many of them refuse to come and visit me. They will be like, where you stay is far, we can come. Today now, I own estates, they are still in rented apartment and yet don't have any land. There's nothing wrong with being in a rented apartment. Okay? Just make sure you have a land somewhere or you have a house somewhere. Because one of the strategy I said to myself, to my wife, I said, we need to endure here. So that by the time I'm moving to the city, it will be the rent of the properties I have other places. Because when I move to the city, I can't live anywhere. I have to live in one of the biggest estates for security reason. And that's what happened. In fact, when we moved, the kind of mansion we moved to were like this small inside the whole building. Everywhere was just too big for us. I pray that somebody will have a great testimony today. I thought I would hear an amen. Yeah? I pray someone will have a good testimony. So, number 3 reason why Africans are poor is that mentally they have been programmed not to do, but to only hear. How many of you will type again, I will be a doer from today. I will do. Like you've heard me. I will do. And some of the reasons why we don't do is just that we're just too afraid. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Number 4 reason for poverty in Africa and why a lot of people, Africans, remain poor home and abroad. Okay, home and abroad is that we have the culture of expecting somebody else to solve the problem and not us. We have the culture of expecting somebody else to solve the problem and not us. So it's a culture where you run away. It's a culture where you say, you know what, I don't want to be a victim. I just have to run away from what's going on here. You know, I don't. And that's the same culture happening. A lot of people have left Africa to greener pasture in UK, in the US, and then today they're still struggling because they thought it was just going to be a land flowing with milk and honey, and they failed to realize that if you won't do it, who will? So we have been slaves because we passed the buck, and that's the number 4. Africans are used to passing the buck, putting the blame on somebody else. Some of us put our blame of why we're where we are on our parents. Some put it on our churches. Some put it on our parents. Some put it on, I don't name it. And this is one of the things I always tell people, and you need to hear this, that somebody may be responsible for where you are now, but nobody will be responsible for where you will be years from now. Can I say that again? Somebody might have been responsible for where you are now, but nobody is responsible for where you're going. You are absolutely responsible for the outcome of your life. So stop passing the buck. Take personal responsibility for your country, for your location, for where you are. Take personal responsibility. In January, because of my birthday is 28, and naturally I visit orphanage home. I'm already thinking, because myself and my wife will be on holiday in a cruise yacht, so we're visiting different islands, you know, from Mexico to all of that. Mentally, I'm already thinking, yes, I know my foundation team in Nigeria will visit some orphanage home because that's how I celebrate my birthday. But I'm thinking, which orphanage or places, maybe home for older people, can I visit, you know, in the US or in any of these Caribbean countries when we're in the cruise? I'm already thinking of that and seeing where I can call. Because it doesn't matter where I am. I have understood the fact that I have to take responsibility for people in that location. If not me, who will? If I'm not the one solving the problem, who will? You see people say, you know, leave them alone. Those corrupt politicians, those are our leaders. You know, they will not change this country. If they won't, who will? A young man went into election. I see a lot of young people are going to politics now. How many of us as young people are saying, I will support this person? There was one who told me, he just told me he was going, you know. I said, no, I will support you. I was online and little donation I sent to him. I said, I will support you because I may not be able to go into politics now, but I know that we need to change the political system. And one of the ways I can help is to, you know, empower young people who are going into politics. Okay, in my little way. Of course, it may not be much, but if it's in small donations, if it's in to also promote them and endorse them on my platform, I want to do that. Be the solution provider. We are poor as Africans. We have suffered too much as Africans because we don't think that we are the ones that are wired to solve the problem. Let me ask you a question. Why did God choose this time to create you? Why? Why were you born at this time? Why were you not born in the 1800s? Why were you not born in the 1700s? Why? Why did God also choose to now give birth to you in that part of Africa, whether Sierra Leone or Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon? Why did God now choose that part of the world as where he was going to give birth to you? Why? Who can answer the question? Why? Can somebody help me with that answer? Can I tell you the answer if you care to know? The reason is because you carry the solution to solve the problem in that locality. God had loaded you with the capacity to solve the solution in that place. That was why I rose up one day and I said, I hate the way I'm seeing my brothers. I hate the way I'm seeing my fellow Africans suffer and people graduate from school and there's no job. And I went through that process. I printed 100 CV. Nobody was willing to give me a job. I had to go and start my business on my own. And I said, if I can only help 1 million Nigerians or Africans or Africans basically, I will have influenced the change in Africa. Because if those 1 million people, okay, employ average of 30 people, we have simply created 30 million jobs. That will go a long way in reducing the poverty line. Probably in a few years' time, from some of these other 30 million people, half of that or less than that will also go and start their own business, and we can solve the unemployment issue in Africa. Why am I doing that? Because I just took responsibility. I believed I was born for such a time as this because I carry a solution for my generation. How many of you will agree with me today that you carry the solution to the problem in your country? Even those of you in the diaspora, you owe it to your fellow Africans to do something about what's going on there. Even if it means starting a blog that will expose corruption, even if it means, starting an organization that will entrench transparency, even if it means starting a whole, agency that will support credible politicians. Okay, even if you are in the UK or you are in Netherlands, you are in the US, you are in Canada, you are in Italy or wherever, God placed you there to save your people. You are responsible for them. So what are we saying as number 4? Stop passing the buck. Take responsibility for what is going on in Africa. Yes, the Obasanjo generation, Buhari and all of them generation that still don't want to live there may have been responsible for the mess we have now, but you and I owe it to ourselves to clean the mess. If nobody does, we will. Because we will grow up in the mess. And we will now end up giving excuses to our children. And we shouldn't do that. So every one of you hear a young man in Africa and you check his antecedent, he's doing well. Whether you believe in the party or not, support the man. You heard a technocrat is doing something, support the person. I didn't know Akinwumi Ambode from anywhere. Akinwumi, the former Minister for Agriculture. But I saw the things the man was doing in agriculture. I just became like his online fan. Every time I just talk about him well. Because if people, let me tell you one of the reasons why a lot of African leaders are wicked. Can I say the reason why? We do not celebrate our heroes when they are alive. That's why they go bad. Because they realize that even when they are doing well, nobody will celebrate them. So what's the point of doing well? When you are seeing people doing good, your own part, whether you are in whatever part of the world, can just be to say, I will start a movement to begin to highlight 10 outstanding Nigerians, Africans, okay, Ghanaians, Togolese, Sierra Leoneans, South Africans or whatever, who are doing well. I'll begin to point the light. So that we don't keep saying that all Africans are bad, all Africans are not good, and if you say an African guy, there's something wrong with him. One of the things I said to people, I said, everywhere in the world I travel, I'm going to be training because I want to build a brand as an African expert, as a credible African who can be trusted and you can do deals with him anywhere in the world. I intentionally said to myself, because when I had that first experience at the US Embassy, I said, no, now I understand that I'm actually a brand ambassador. That if this man at the immigration will see more Nigerians like me, okay, suddenly he will not begin to think that every Nigerian is a liar. If he can see more Africans like me, who will be credible with what they're saying, who when they say they have come to spend certain number of time, they have actually come to spend so number of time, who will just be sincere and be trustworthy, then we'll see that. Okay? We'll see that happen. People told me, why didn't you come? You've been getting visa. Why didn't you come and give back to your children in the US? It's a way to turn them to citizens. And I just busted into laughter. I said, the kind of money that I will have, okay, US government will be privileged to give me citizenship. Write it down. I said, that's why I didn't do it. The kind of money I will have, developed countries will see it as a privilege to make me their citizen. So we need to wake up, ladies and gentlemen. We need to take responsibility for our continent. We need to take responsibility for this continent. We need to save this continent. And I don't care where in the world you are, you can add value. Stop complaining. Stop just being the one giving problems all the time. You come and analyze, and there's no single solution you are offering. Stop it. Tell yourself, I'm going to start touching the light. Those who are doing well in Africa, I'll be mentioning them. I have access to good internet. I have access to good electricity. So I will do that. I've been teaching on blogging, on 20 businesses people can do on the internet and make money. These are part of my own contribution to see to it that Africans become good. Because I just was shocked when I started traveling internationally. There was the first experience I had that shocked me was in London. I took a train and I saw this guy. He was black and he had a tag or something. And they wrote Kola or something. I can't remember the name, but it was an African name. So I was excited because, we call it JJC now. Johnny Just Come. I was Johnny Just Come in London then. It was years ago. And I was just excited to see somebody who is also black skin like myself, thinking he was from where I come from. So I said, hello, sir. You must be from Africa. Then look at me and spoke his British English. I cannot understand what he's saying. So, it was a big shock to me that I had to start talking to other Africans here and say, guess what happened to me? I was trying to talk to somebody and the man busted into laughter. I said, it's real that Africans who don't have a good job here don't always want to identify because, they don't know. You may know somebody that knows them and then at some point say, oh, this, I met this guy, was working in the train. I was just like, for Christ's sake, what does that mean? Okay, if you're not proud of working in the train, then stop working the train. Go start your business or something. Okay? Or go get better job or get more degrees or figure it out. There's always a way out, ladies and gentlemen. But I was shocked. So, you go to hotels, instead of Africans owning the hotels, they are the one that will clean the place and be at the door. I'm not saying that's wrong, and don't get me wrong. I will rather support a man who is working hard. Because I teach people, I say this. I said, look, God forbid, if I financially go bankrupt today, if I need to carry cement to feed my family, I'm going to do it. There is dignity in labor. And it's part of what I'm going to go to later. It's part of what I'm going to talk about. So there's nothing wrong that you're driving a cab or that you're doing something. There's nothing wrong with it. But you see, if you are doing that for 10 years, you're doing that for 20 years, you're doing that for 30 years, something is now wrong. Something is wrong because you're supposed to grow and graduate. I've gotten to, when I started business, as a young man trying to fend for myself, I used to sell popcorn on the roadside. Buy popcorn. That's a true story. Buy popcorn. It was a phase, and I never felt little. That was why I was surprised that man wouldn't identify with me. I didn't feel I was in any way disenfranchised, or I didn't feel like I was small or inferior. It was even people that didn't want to associate with me, but I felt I was proud that at least I have a job. I have something I'm doing. There's dignity in labor. And I knew it was a phase. And I knew that a time will come in my life when I will have grown beyond that part. And is it not happening today? So there is dignity in labor, and don't get me wrong. But when it becomes situations where we as Africans are now the ones branded and labeled to be the one doing the ridiculous job, and we can't have some of our people who will begin to own those businesses, who will begin to have properties of their own. I'm not saying mortgage, you bought it. Pastor Matthew Ashimolo was sharing some days ago, and I really appreciated that message because he said the church bought a property. The other churches weren't buying property, but they bought the property for 100-something thousand pounds. And this year or so, they sold that same property, and it goes for 3.5 million pounds. What they bought for, I think, 172,000 pounds. Years later, less than 20 years later, now going for 3.5 million pounds. That's how he said when they got to London, they started their church. In 9 months, they got their property. I want to encourage you because I'm a realtor and I believe in real estate. Get a property for yourself. If you don't want to get it in Africa because you don't trust Africans, you don't trust Africa, buy something here. Go for trainings here on real estate. Okay, you can even use the credit to get real estate. A lot of people have grown real estate with credit. I've met people here who are doing well. One of them, Dr. Chris, who hosted me. She has a big lot of property, have schools everywhere. And in just less than 20-something years, she's amassed amazing wealth. In fact, the local county normally fight property from her. This woman, she will soon come and buy it. Let's quickly buy the property. That's the kind of things I want to see Africans do. And I want more. Because when we have more Africans doing that, then we'll redeem our image. We will no longer be seen as the scammer, as the Yahoo boys, as the guys who are nuisance to the community, who are the ones that are always loudest and just not contributing anything tangibly to the society. Something happened on Saturday. I finished my training, the Switch International training, and I heard the wildlife is around and they were doing wildlife. I wanted to relax and I went there for a wildlife. True story. And you won't believe it. I was at the VIP seat. There was another side where artists were sitting down. And then I think Agudai was one performing. And I don't know how the person used the technology. He was just interrupting the mic. So you'll be hearing somebody else talk aside the man holding the mic. And you just almost messed the event up. And at some point, we had to say, who is doing that? Stop this now. And the guy was saying, no, so lady, she's a backup. She's supposed to sing. They didn't allow her to sing. Just interrupting the whole event. And I just said to myself, oh boy, do these people know how much hundreds of thousands of pounds have gone into that event? That you just now felt that the best thing you can do is to destroy that event. I heard that here in the UK, there used to be a place where Africans had shops. Okay, those of you who are here who are in the UK, you can bear me witness. They say Africans have shops, a lot of shops. And that suddenly Africans started bringing, ritual stuff. In Yoruba, they call it ebo. And every morning they were bewitching each other. And that whole area now is no longer full of Africa. Indians have taken over that whole place because they all bewitch each other's businesses till the whole thing went down. Something is wrong with us. And we need to tell ourselves the truth and change ourselves. Because we are a reflection of our leaders. If we change, our leaders will change. We need to change. How can AY put together a fantastic event like that? One of those people that you can say will make, is a good ambassador of Africa. That somebody has come, put together an event. There were over 2,000 people there, massive event. And then you want to spoil the event. And you think you've done something good. You think, because they didn't allow your girlfriend to perform or something. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to take personal responsibility for Africa. You can change this continent. You have all it takes to change this country. Let me announce this to all of you. Africa, we know that I came. And this is not boasting. This is not games. Give me time. Africa will not recover from the fact that a man called Stephen Akita was born. We are going far. The things God is going to be using us to do in this time, we're going far. Africa, we know this guy came. So, be friends with me now. We're going far. Okay, because we're going far. And I'm not joking about this. Because I am not just saying things to you guys. These are things I'm doing. I'm a doer. I'm taking Africa on my shoulders. God will use me to change this nation. And you see, when God sees sincere and genuine task to change your continent, He will give you resources. He will give you connections. He will open doors. Relationship will come. Opportunities will come. The reason why we are poor is that it's all about ourselves. Me and my children. Me. Once our thinking change from just me to I want to impact my world. I want to impact my generation. Who else can I add value to? Boom. You're on your way. Let's go to number 5. I don't know if you are enjoying this. If you're enjoying this type, I'm enjoying this. If you're getting value type, I'm getting value. Come on, give me comments. Show me some love. Show some love. And share this video anyway. Because I think every African needs to hear this. Every African need to hear this. Number 5 thing I want to talk about is called division. Is number 5 reasons why Africans are poor. We are never united. Division is one of the major reasons why Africans and Africa is poor. We are never united. If somebody else is doing this and is getting this level of results, some people will come and say, no, that person is totally the devil. This is the way we should go now. This is the way we should go. And it's one of the major reasons why we've never achieved something. Let me give you a story I heard that is happening in the UK and the US and in most Western world. There are, two major categories of people, or 3 categories of people who are also from the developed countries. We have the Africans, we have the Indians, and the Pakistanis. So we can say Africa and Asia, right? And these 2 people also are all trying to migrate their people from Africa to this part of the world where we say green pasture. But one has turned things around, the other has not. And you hear this. An Indian man will come to UK, and before you know it, begin to invite his cousins, his brothers, and before you know, there are 10 families. They all have children, they all have wives and husbands, and they are living in one big house. True story. Everybody begin to work, they gather, contribute their monies together, and then they buy the second house. True story. Go and do your research. True story. They will buy the second house, and it will be for number 2 person that came. Everybody will gather their money together again. They will buy the house for the number 3 person, and then for the number 4 person and number 5 person. In 5-10 years, these same people who were, poor from, had to relocate, will now own their own house here. Not mortgage or not lease. They will own their own house here. They will now own shopping malls. Most of the shopping malls, small shopping malls, corner shops in UK and in the US are owned by Indians and Pakistanis. But look at my own brothers too. We do the same actually. Nigerians, migrate to UK and to US, and they bring their brothers. Sometimes same father, same mother, sometimes cousins. And then the same person you helped and you brought, small thing will happen, the same person will be the one after you. The same person will be the one to leave you without even being grateful. Maybe just a little disappointment, a misunderstanding between 2 wives. Instead of showing maturity and say, the 2 of you, the 2 wives, sit down here. We are your husbands. And we're saying you should solve whatever problem you're going through now. Because our unity is bigger than each of us. We will do more together. We will do more in unity than when we are divided. And then they straighten themselves out, because that's how the Indians do it. There's somebody who will be like the head of everybody. And so when issues happen, he treats those issues in justice and in fairness, and everybody, because they fight too, for your information. They are human beings too. Every human being has sentiment. We are complex. We fight. That's what makes us us. We have issues. We disagree. But there's so much maturity from the Pakistanis and the Indian family that everybody will be mature enough, and they work together till every one of them is settled. But in Africa, pride. Who are they? What do they mean? See the way your wife spoke to me. Do you know who I am? Because you helped me to come. I'm going on my own. And then he goes on his own and begins to struggle and struggle. 20 years gone, he has nothing. He has nothing. That is one of the major issue with Africans. Even back at home, the same problem we face. The same problem you face. Somebody invests with a Pakistani and things didn't go well, they will just sort it out. Oh, sorry, you've given me the proof. Let me give you a story of my very dear friend, who they're in Nigeria. The 2 of them are Indians, and they run a big company. I don't mention the name of the company. This company turns out 1 billion to 1.5 billion every month in sales. And the owner of the company, who is the chairman, got this other guy who is the CEO, but they are also both Indians. And suddenly something happened. They started having some losses. Some of the marketing managers in different branches, didn't remit their money. And the chairman came, they had the board meeting, and he said, you are the CEO. I'm disappointed that all this went happen under you. Meanwhile, this CEO was the one that launched them into, in fact, all their current product. It was this man who created them, because he did a lot when it comes to product creation, expansion. But when it comes to, being checking out the marketing guys and the accounting people to be sure things were done, he failed in that area. And the owner of the company said, my brother, you have to resign. He's also an equity owner. Do you know that this guy resigned and they talked it out? Okay, what do you want to do now that I've sent you away? And the funny thing, they were in-laws. They were in-laws. So what do you want to do? He said he will start his own company, and he requested for space in the same company to start his own. Requested for space in the same company. And he has just started his own. Some of the executives said they want to go with him, and they went with him, and it was no fight. And he did not go ahead and start doing the same product he had helped his in-laws company to do. He looked for a separate new set of products and services, was managing that one's office temporarily, and then I'm sure very soon it's going to go somewhere else. That is called maturity. We behave like babies and kids from this part of the world. Many people carry age, but they know nothing. A woman, I told you the story of a woman who was just bad-mouthing somebody else here. And she told me that I should not partner with the person who, the person is this, the person is that. And I came on social media and I mentioned it. And she came back, she had the guts to come back and say, I told you something. You went and said, I'm 56 and I know you are maybe 35. I'm teaching you wisdom. And I said, keep the wisdom to yourself. If you have been that wise, you will have gone to more result than I got. We need to be more united and stop this sentiment. If we're going to go far as Africans in business, in what we're doing, we need to be united. We need to come together. We fight and fight and fight ourselves till, it doesn't make sense. Let me give you a scenario now that is currently making me really, really angry. There are some pastors who have come up in recent time. They are preaching what we call the grace message. And they said these other people who are preaching, prosperity message are foolish and they are teaching rubbish. But by the way, before grace message, there was also another message. It was the holiness message. For your information. So that you know where the world has moved in terms of the faith, the gospel of Jesus. Before the holiness we have had other ones who were the Methodist, who pulled out from Catholic. So we have had errors when it comes to the body of Christ, where some people just come up and say, these other people, they are wrong, they are bad, they're just crazy. And we have these people come up and they say, you don't need to tithe. I don't have a problem with that. If you can prove to me that people shouldn't tithe, no problem. Abi, it's each person's choice. If you feel like tithing, go ahead and tithe. If you don't feel like tithing, it's your own business. But it's so bad that some of them will show videos and say, this man called so name, he's a fake man of God. Come on, cut that crap. You're bigger than that. I agree many of the things that some of these people are saying are true. That a lot of pastors are doing fake miracles. A lot of them are practicing witchcraft. And they will say they are healing people. They are setting the poor free. You say you are doing healing and then you are using, neuro-linguistic programming and all of this rubbish. We know. We know. And we've known over the years. And this is not new. It happened even in the time of Jesus. It happened during the time of Paul the Apostle. It is normal that when there is original, there will be fake. But don't call names. Don't call names. I'm told that some of them, they are pulling their videos down. And I support it. Don't call names. You can go ahead and say, these people, this method of doing healing is wrong. It's not scriptural. I support you. But don't call names. We need to be united. We need to be united. Because in the day of battle, who will defend you? Who will defend you? We need to be united. We will, of course, need to talk about what's wrong in the system. We need to challenge. I get so sick by a lot of this, I call them fake pastors. Many of them just all about money, taking people's money, living, they don't even care about the members. Right? I agree with you on that. And I absolutely think that we need to begin to tell people that they should wake up, right? If you are in a church, for example, and many of you in that church, you don't have a job, and that church is not beginning to think of educating you, putting programs in place that can help you towards getting employment, I think you should be careful of that church. If you're in a church and they're saying just bring your tithe, just bring your tithe, they are not thinking of how to educate you on how to grow your business. I know of a church now that for a while now they've been preaching about how to become a CEO. God bless that man of God. God bless that man of God. Because these are real people who are adding value. But my point is, whether you're going to fight, you're going to say, I don't believe in what that person has said, or I don't believe in this, we need to be mature people. So you don't come and then begin to say, this person is fake. I know he's fake. This other one is fake. This other one is from the devil. This other one is... Come on, let's stop that. We are mature than that. Wake up. Wake up. And stop this nonsense. We're bigger than that. And because the same thing we did with our businesses. When you look at the UK, yes, when the major migration started, when Africans started leaving from their country for greener pasture in the UK, many of them went into business. But it was disunity, it was fight, it was things like this that brought it down. In fact, do you know how many halls, many Nigerians who opened event centers was closed down in UK because somebody has a hall, rented it out to a Nigerian or to an African, and then suddenly, they're going to fight themselves. In fact, there was a case, they said somebody died and they shut the whole place down. Many event centers has been shut down in the UK. If you're in UK, can you confirm whether I'm saying the truth or not about this event center story? Many event centers have been shut down. Before now, in the UK, you come and you need a loan for your business. Once you have fulfilled the requirement, it's done. In fact, there was a bank I wanted to open an account. And when I mentioned the volume of transactions that will be going through